Masters with heroes rise. The dying world's still on its skies. Crushing head with power we fight. Strength that makes you light in the night. Where the brawn meets the brush. The story told in this land of imagination mode. With every stroke, adventures unfold. Minis and muscles, heart and soul. Guidance in hand and worlds to explore. Roll the future, hear the dice roll. Gaming realms of muscles drawn. Together in this place where we belong. Joining spells, casting dreams until the dawn. Leveling up and the world to follow. With painted heroes shining bright. Venturing onward in the endless night. Where the brawn meets the brush. The story's told in this realm of imagination mode. With every stroke, the vengeance unfold. Peace of our soul, our soul. Where the brawn meets the brush. The story's told in this realm of imagination mode. With every stroke, the vengeance might fall. Peace of our souls, our soul.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you? Oh, turn that music down a little bit. That's a little bit loud. Happy Friday, people. Happy Friday. Welcome, welcome one, welcome all to Minis and Muscles, the place where the brawn meets the brush. The place where we talk geek. The place where we paint miniatures and we chat and have a good old geeky time talking about absolutely everything and anything there is to do with Warhammer or D&D or Pokemon or retro gaming or modern gaming even, comics, whatever you want to talk about, I'll talk about it whilst we paint miniatures and have a good old chinwag and talk through a few painting tips and tricks. So how are you? How are things? We have made it. It is Friday. Thank the Lord. We are here. We got to the end of the week. Sometimes, is it me, right? Or does sometimes weeks just seem to go really quickly? This week seemed to have gone very quickly. I think actually since I've got over about 35, I think weeks just feel like they go super fast. So yeah, but we're here nonetheless. Anyway, you're here, I'm here, it's Friday, we made it. We're back on Minis and Muscles. This week, let's cover our agenda before we get into anything else. This week we are going to talk about, we're going to continue to paint, whilst I mess around with this model right now. We are going to continue to paint this guy right here. So our ogre, so let's bring him in a bit better. There you go, our ogre that we started painting about 2 weeks ago now, so 2 sessions in. We're going to continue to paint this bad boy today. A lot of the sort of base colours are done, so it's going to be sort of focusing on a few last bits to colour, and then some of the sort of bling bits to sort of draw your eye into the model. And then, you know, maybe we'll do some a little bit more detailing. Oh, and the base as well. We need to do the base. So that is what we're going to do today on today's show. If we finish it today, we'll go on to other things. I've got plenty of stuff sort of surrounding me. I've got a couple of models over here to fix. I've got a couple of models here to paint. So we've got no shortage of minis. JPC! He's in the house. How are you, sir? Hope you're doing well. Glad that you are here with me. Look at you stealing the #1 crown already. I'm glad you're here, sir. So I'm going to change the music over to our normal one. There we go. That's better. The other one sounded a bit too jazzy, a bit too like intense. Whereas this one is a little bit more calmer. So what we've got today on this week's show. So this week's show, as usual, if you are new to Minis and Muscles, we split it down into 3 equal parts. Those parts being our main theme, we have a muscle moment, and then we have our hobby horror moment. So 3 elements. So this week, our main theme. Crikey, I can't even remember what we're going to do as our main theme. Oh, that's right. For our main theme today, we're going to be talking about World of Warcraft, which is... It's a retro game, considering it was out 20 plus years ago. However, it's still going. So it's kind of the blend between the retro and the new. And we're going to be talking about that as our main theme, topic of theme. Kind of inspired for the fact that I've started replaying the game after, 25 years away from it or whatever it is. So that's going to be our main topic of conversation. For our muscle moment, we're going to be talking about Run Forest Run. And that's, you can kind of imagine what we're going to be talking about there, but that's the title for the muscle moment. And for the hobby horror moment, our title was Handle with Care. So we'll get onto those later. So let's have a quick recap of everything to see how things have been going. We've got JPC Online saying busy working but getting out early. Yes, come on JPC, get out that work early. You will paint the blood letter with a banner tonight. Nice. Are you going with a general rainbow theme across all of your blood letters? Because for those that you don't know, Minis-N-Muscles got a Discord channel. You can find all the information how to join, or the link to join, in the information on the YouTube page. And in there recently, JPC posted a model that he's been painting. So loads of us just dropped pictures of models we're painting into the Minis channel. And he put in a picture of a lovely blood letter that is got loads of cool sort of what's it called, where you blended, there you go, that's the word I was looking for, blended colours across the body and the horns, and then he's got sort of like a multicoloured sword. So JPC, are you continuing with that theme of sort of bright colours? Let me know. Optimus is in the house. Hello Optimus, let's go. Evening Steve, saw you at the gym Monday working hard. What? Oh, okay Optimus, you should have said hello. You should have come and said hello. That would have been good to see you and say hello. You've been spying on me working in the gym, eh? Hopefully I wasn't slacking and I was actually working hard throughout. Fingers crossed. Although I don't really slack at the gym, to be fair. I do normally train pretty hard. So hopefully you got that vibe from me when you were there. But next time, say hello, please do. And that's if anyone ever sees me out and about, whether that is at the gym, whether that is out in London or Brighton or wherever it is I hang out and go around the place. Or even if I'm sort of scaling around the rest of the parts of the world, or even the US. Come and say hello. I'd love to say hello to you all. Update on the last week. What's been happening? Well, since we last had our last live stream last week, obviously we were painting the big ogre boy. But what have I been doing? Well, that Sunday I played Warhammer. So I took... Oh, did I take my Space Marines? Yes, I took my Space Marines for a run and I played the Grey Knights. Was it the Grey Knights I played? I think it was Grey Knights I played. So another faction of Space Marines in Warhammer 40,000. Did win. Yes, come on. So that was good. Enjoyed that. What else did I do? D&D on Tuesday. Played Dungeons and Dragons on Tuesday with my little group that I have and host around here in the man cave. On the other side of this table we play. So yeah, we had that going. That was awesome, although it was not good. Okay, I play a character called Willie Johnson, right? And Willie Johnson is a rather large, rotund man. And he's a big black guy, 350 pounds, and he's a monk, and he's awesome. However, my monk that is awesome got killed in the last game. Oh, it was devastating. I couldn't believe it. I was gutted. Like, I really liked that character. The funniest thing about Willie Johnson is that he was blind, right? So he couldn't see anything apart from, well, recently when he just got to level 4 or whatever it was, or 5, he got blind sight. So that means he can see 5 to 10 feet in front of him, but you can't see crystal clear like we can. It's sort of just basically shapes that he could see. So he could see 5 to 10 feet in front of him, but then he got killed, and he died a rather hideous death. So I was absolutely gutted. But that gives me an excuse to create a new character, which I have done, and order some new minis. Yes, I know, yes, I've got lots of minis, but I didn't have a mini for this character, so I've got the mini for this character. I will not reveal what character I'm playing, because I want to make sure that, just in case someone that I'm playing with watches the stream and then they know what I'm playing. So I just wanted to sort of keep it on the down low. But it's a very cool character, to say the least. So I'm very excited about playing that character. Although that's not next week, so it's every 2 weeks now. So it's not next week, it's the week after. So it's a little bit of a break, so it gives me some time to get my minis painted. What else have I done this week? Played a bit of Warcraft. So I have played a bit of Warcraft. We'll go into that in a bit more detail for the main general conversation, because that's today's conversation, World of Warcraft. And yes, that is probably about it. So, have you got your paintbrushes ready? Have you got your nice clean water if you're painting along with me in terms of painting your own mini perhaps? And if you are, join the Discord, get online and show me what the minis you're painting, or you can just bung it in the chat and tell me right now if you're painting a mini. Let's get rid of the power cable as we do every week and hope that the camera stays on. So hopefully you've got your wet palettes ready. Mine's been partially used, but the bottom half is good, so we'll continue to use that. Oh, sounds like a crazy wrap up, really, of the week. Hopefully you're all okay. How is everybody? I haven't asked you guys. How are you? Have you had a good week? And what have you been doing? So drop it in the chat. Tell me how your week's been. Tell me what you've been up to. I would love to hear from you all. Let's have a quick sip. Oh, actually, I did do something else actually this week. Well, not this week, but I have started getting back into running. So I used to run lots and lots and lots whilst I was in the army, and I was very, very good at it. So I was running like, 5Ks in 16 minutes, and I've still got to this day actually, which I found out recently, on my park run, 'cause park run logs all your times. I've still got park runs logged on my account from when I was running ages ago, and I found them when I re-put park run onto my watch. So they're still on there, so it's sealed. The records are sealed at 16 minutes and something seconds. I'm not that fast anymore. I'm way heavier than what I was back then. I was probably weighing around the 70 kg mark. Now I'm like 97 kg, so I'm a little bit heavier. But yeah, so a bit heavier, but I'm trying, and I've got back into my running, so that's really good. And today I did a 5k run, under 25 minutes today. Yes, come on. So even with the size that, not that I'm massive, but the size that I am in comparison to how I was, I'm still progressing and knocking off seconds. Today was about 45 seconds. I knocked off maybe 55, maybe a minute actually, off my time, and I'm now under 25 minutes. Huzzah! So that's really good. I'm still doing my weights as well. I'm still doing that 3 times a week, but 2 runs a week. So that's kind of how I'm playing my fitness regime at the moment. Oh, anyway, I think that's my whirlwind of updates for you guys. With that in mind, let's drop across to our camera. Let's have a look at this bad boy, see how he's doing. There he is. Look, there's our crazy what are they called? Giant? Yeah, giant ogre. This is what he's looking like at the moment. I might have to zoom out a bit actually. Nope, that's in. There you go. Zoom out a bit so we can see him. So there's quite a lot of detail that we put in. There is some areas that we need to do. We need to do this little skull that's on the front. We've got a couple of these little ropes to do. There's one there as well. There's a couple of ropes around his arm. There's actually a bit of fur that I missed around his arm as well. Ropes on his staff, and a couple of little blades that are hanging off the rock. A little bit of detail on the cow to finish, because we sort of just smashed some colour on there. like the horns and the eyes and stuff. But apart from that, he's pretty good. He's pretty cool. Oh sorry, my what's it called? My refrigerator I've got over there is making a right weird noise. Hopefully that's not going to go pop on me. Yeah, so he's looking actually very, very good. There's just a few basic things to do, and then it's on to detail. So I think we'll probably do some ropes next. In fact, maybe the skull. Maybe we'll do the skull. We'll see. Yes, so that is that. So how are you guys? Drop it in the chat. Let me know. 16 minutes is awesome for 5k. I'm trying to see how many Navy SEAL burpees I can do in 20 minutes. 70 so far is my best. Nice. I will have to have a look at what Navy SEAL burpees consist of. I know what burpees consist of. There is a different form that we had whilst in the military called bastardos, which was a press up followed by a burpee, and that was a bastardo. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, 16 minutes I was very happy with that, but that's ages ago when I used to run a lot, and even at the park run I was pretty competitive in the first, you know, top 5 all the time, so that's pretty good. Now nowhere near that, mate, so I would like to get under 20 minutes. I think that's where I'd really like to get to, but I don't know if that's possible given my weight. I'm not sure, so we're just gonna have to see how that plays out. Right, on with the painting. Let's go over here and let's grab some Morghast bone and let's get that skull painted. I'm also going to grab this colour as well. Oh, sorry, that is Morghast bone. I'm going to grab Morghast bone for the ropes, and I'm going to use Wraith bone, which is this one, for the skull. So just 2 simple colours there. I don't know why though, but Morghast bone always seems to mix really thick. So some paints, like Citadel paints, some are quite good and thin and the consistency is really nice, and you don't really have to do much on your wet palette to introduce them onto the model. Whereas something like this one, Morghast bone, you really have to work this paint, and you have to, I find, you have to add a fair amount of water to it to make it a good consistency. So just bear that in mind when you're doing your paints. Not all paints are equal, so just make sure that you're, you know, mixing the right consistency and getting your consistency right. So all I'm doing now is just blopped the paint onto my wet palette, and then just dropped my paintbrush into my water, added a couple of paintbrushes worth of water to that paint just to thin it down a bit. Wraithbone is a bit different. So Wraithbone is actually a thinner paint, so it won't need 3 lots of water added to it. I think it'll probably do with 1, and that'll probably be about it, because the wet palette itself is wet, so it should do just fine. So here we go. What we got here? Do any of your friends play Old World? Old World, and would be interested in joining a team for Saffron Slam first? Mate, Old World. What is Old World? Am I missing something here? Am I behind on some geek knowledge that I shouldn't? Oh God, am I behind on geek knowledge that I shouldn't be behind on? What is Old World? As in Old World Warhammer? Is that what you're talking about? If so, if it's Old World Warhammer, I don't think so. I did have, as you know, some Old World Warhammer figures. I've still got a few left. I've kept a few that I managed to paint as a kid. So a fair few dwarves, a few dwarven miners, dwarven hammer. Are they called hammerers? I don't know. The guys with the hammers. A flame cannon, another normal cannon, and at the time they had can't remember the name of the dwarf, but they had a boss. A big sort of warlord, and I've got him still as well, so they're the ones I've still got. But yeah, I don't think I know anyone that plays Old World or Warhammer Original Fantasy. Yeah, Warhammer the Old World, yeah, got you. So yeah, I don't, mate, to be fair. It's the choice, isn't it, nowadays? And what Warhammer game do you play? You know, you've got 40k, you've got Age of Sigmar, you've got Old World or Fantasy, whatever you want to call it. And it really is a difficult choice to say, right, I'm going to play X or Y. Because once you play one and you start building your army up, unless you're like super loaded, it's really hard to then... It's tempting, don't get me wrong, but it's really hard to then switch over to another game system. A, you've got to learn a load of stuff, and my memory's like a sieve anyway. And B, it's actually super expensive. So I've kind of resisted going into Age of Sigmar, despite the rules being a lot better than 40k, and some of the models being very cool as well. So I don't think I'll cross over into that platform. However, I do have a couple of Blood Bowl teams, purely because with Blood Bowl, it's like a buy one team and you're done, and the team is very little in terms of cost. So I do have a Blood Bowl team. Yeah, I do that. Or I haven't played it for ages, but because I don't have anyone to play with. But I do have a Blood Bowl team. Although I would love to find my original Blood Bowl team I painted years ago. But I gave it to some friends and they never returned it. So, and then when I asked them about it, they're like, "Oh no, we didn't have that." I'm like, "I know you had that, so don't lie to me." Yeah, so a bit of a frustration, but what can you do? Not a lot is the answer. Yeah, I think there's a new Warhammer Quest release. Yeah, there is. So, again, there was a Warhammer Quest Fantasy Edition, which they've just re-released. And there was also a Warhammer Quest 40k version as well. So Warhammer Quest, for those that don't know, is a more... it's a team-based game. Rather than you playing against each other, you're playing together as a team and you have like one model each. And you're against the baddies, so to speak. So that's quite a cool game. And there's, you know, you can play in the old world, so sort of bows and arrows and swords, or you can play in the futuristic world with guns and knives and stuff. So yeah, so they're two cool games. And Warhammer have just released Warhammer Quest, an old world version, so a fantasy version. That looks pretty cool. So I'd probably play something like that. But again, it's buying the box set for it. And the box sets, especially on release, anything Warhammer sells out like hotcakes. So yeah, so it's going to be very difficult to get hold of that box set, I would imagine. I am waiting though for some new Space Marine box sets to be made available. So I'm really looking forward to the... Oh, sorry, I'm out of camera. Really looking forward to the... what's it called? The Terminator box set dropping. Because they haven't replaced the old Terminators for the melee version. You've got the new Terminators that shoot, but they haven't got the Assault Terminators that are all melee based. So I'm looking forward to them coming out. That will be good. Apart from that, I don't think I have any plans to purchase any models at the moment. I think it's, you know, keeping it pretty low key, to be fair, in terms of models. Just because it's, you know, again, it's an expense, right? Hobbies are expensive. And yes, I don't smoke, and yes, I don't drink and party and go to the pub and all that sort of thing. So you could say, well, you have, you know, that spare money that you could have wasted, and I do. But, you know, you've also got to be sensible with how you spend your money, right? So buying things all the time is not a good idea. So yeah, so I'm trying to be good at the moment. Anyways, what else is the new Death Course set is supposed to be great. Yeah, I had a look at that. It looks very cool. I think that one looks the most appealing because you get a lot more models for your money. They did release an Ultramarines box set for Christmas, but I've got all the models that are in it apart from one Dreadnought, and I don't want that Dreadnought, so it's, to me, there's no real benefit of getting it. That's the only thing with box sets. Sometimes they don't quite fit what you would need. However, if you're new to the game, these box sets are really good because you can get, although they're still pricey, nothing Warhammer or D&D for that matter is cheap ever. But with the box sets, you can get a good discount on what would be the regular retail price, right? So if you're thinking about getting into Warhammer and you like the look of the Tyranids, if you like the look of Space Marines, if you like the look of all these new box sets that have just come out, take a consideration to buy them when they're released, that is, because if you work out the money you're saving, it's actually pretty good. It is really well worth it. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of the box sets will probably be £100 or more. I haven't seen any pricing yet, but it's going to be more than £100, I'd have thought, because there's quite a lot of models in them, which is a big investment. But when you consider if you bought all those models separately, you're saving yourself money, and you will probably, if you're collecting that army, end up with those models anyway. That's, what they do is they tend to put the well-used models into these box sets, or they tend to put a recently released model into the box set so that you buy it. Especially if they do a cheeky points change, which makes the model more viable when you're playing the game, which they often do. Little swines at Games Workshop. That's their tactic. Yeah. So there you go. There's my sort of Warhammer spiel update. I hope that wasn't too boring for some of you. But yeah, my general conversation today, anyway, is World of Warcraft. So, for those of you who don't know, what is World of Warcraft? I hear you cry. Well, I shall tell you what World of Warcraft is, peeps. Don't you worry. World of Warcraft is a massive multiplayer online role-playing game. It's where you create a little character and you go around, do quests, level your character up, and then you can go and join things like parties and guilds and do raids on massive dungeons and find awesome loot. And it's really fun. There's a lot of different customization in the character building section. So if you like character building like I do, Warcraft is very good for that, so you will not be disappointed. There's plenty of customization because there's so many different options even in-game for the items. You will always find that your character looks different to someone else's, and I love that. Like, if you go into, I don't know, Fortnite, everyone's got the same ruddy skin, so you all look the bloody same, even if you've just spent the money on something like you don't think anyone's got. They've all bloody got it anyway. So it is really good for that. And it's just a nice game to play. It's a bit different from your sort of Fortnite or Call of Duties, where you can have fun in those games, but this is, I'd say, a little bit more relaxed. It's not as in-your-face stressful, which some of the sort of modern games with high-paced modern games are. I find they're a little bit more stressful to play sometimes. So especially if you're, getting your butt whooped all the time by some 5-year-old or whatever it is. And I mean, yes, I could just not get my butt whooped by a 5-year-old, but they play computers all day long. I have to ruddy well work, so not going to happen. So it's this massive online role-playing game. It's loads of customization, and it's set in a kind of fantasy world. Now that fantasy world is where you've got things like these big guys like ogres and orcs, and so you've got good guys and bad guys. So you've got the Alliance, which is the good guys, or the apparent good guys anyway, and you've got the Horde, which is the apparent bad guys. The Horde make up all the stereotypically evil races, so your orcs and things like that, whereas the Alliance are humans, elves, dwarves, gnomes. Do you know what? I've never played as a Horde player before, so I've never been on the bad side, but they have loads of cool races as well. I can't remember what they all are because I've never played them, but I think is it Tauren, which are like they look like horsemen type thing. You've got orcs, you've got undead, you've got quite a few different races to play and options to play, but I've just never played them because I just can't be a bad guy. Just can't do it, guys. I can't play as a bad guy. Have to play as a good guy, or the perceived good. Same in Warhammer. I don't play a Xenos faction, or I did buy orcs, yes, but then I stopped and I was like, right, I'm not playing them. So I've just got Sisters of Battle and Space Marines. That's it. Just can't play a bad person, I'm afraid. It's just not in my body to do it. So yeah, so I play World of Warcraft, and in World of Warcraft I chose to play as a elf. So I want to say like 25 years ago, I started playing World of Warcraft. I bought a gaming laptop, a Sony gaming laptop at the time, and it was pretty epic. It was a really expensive laptop for those days, and it was a bloody good one as well. I used that and played World of Warcraft. I stopped playing. When did I stop playing? I stopped playing after a couple of years anyway. And when I got my gaming PC, I was playing Fortnite with my cousin, and which is good fun, especially playing with my cousin who's a laugh. But it's the game itself gets a little bit boring. There's not much variation on it, so I like sometimes for different things to happen and all the rest of it, where you have a little bit more choice about what's going on and you can influence things by doing certain stuff. And I saw an advert somewhere for World of Warcraft. And I was like, I'm going to go play that again. As soon as I've got a new PC, I can play it, and I paid for my subscription to Warcraft and downloaded it, loaded it up, and got into it and actually really enjoying playing it again, especially for the nostalgia reasons of being able to go to a certain part on the map and go, oh my god, I remember doing this quest 20 odd years ago. So it's real good. So hopefully I've given you a bit of a overview about what it is, the game, and what it's all about, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Optimus is saying, have you seen that for the new Warcraft expansion they've made gameplay easier by removing half the talents? Probably a bit more like Classic now. Yeah, so I should have said actually when I was talking about Warcraft, there's a couple of different variants you can play. I play the Classic variant, so that's what I play at the moment, because I wanted it to closely match what I played 20 odd years ago. However, as Optimus has pointed out, there are different variants you can play. I did, because you can get a trial account and you can play World of Warcraft for free up to about level 20, just to see if you like it, and then you have to pay for a subscription. And I played the free version before I paid for my subscription, and it was pretty good. It was on the new version of World of Warcraft. However, the reason I didn't continue on the new servers is that I actually really missed that slow grind. I found that leveling in the new version was super fast, and I mean unbelievably fast. Whereas I quite like the fact it takes time and effort to get to, get to the next level. I don't quite like it when it feels almost like it's a done deal, and within 2 seconds you've leveled up, and you've leveled up again after killing a few monsters. So I don't want it to be too grindy, but at the same time you don't want it to be too easy. And the new version of Warcraft just felt too easy. So I haven't seen it, Optimus, since they've removed some of the talent tree aspects. But I've got to say, I'm loving playing the classic. So it is really good. It is a lot of good fun, I tell you. Just checking for other bits of rope that we need to paint on here. There's a bit here on the wheel. Yeah, so that is Warcraft. Very enjoyable game so far. So that's why I thought I'd bring it up as the general chat. So if you want to know anything about Warcraft, or you indeed play yourself, stick some comments in the chat and let me know, and let's start a convo on it. I mean, first appearances, the graphics aren't they aren't like modern day graphics, so don't expect to find these crisp, clean characters. They're very old school in how it it's very old school, sorry, in how it presents, but that gives it a certain charm. That's what I quite like about it, and maybe that's why for someone that plays retro gaming a lot, maybe that's why it appeals to me. The updated version of Warcraft is a bit more crisper in terms of the graphics. Classic is classic, and it's sort of old school style graphics. Bonus about that means that you don't have to have the most powerful PC in the world to be able to play it. So that is a really good point. So if you don't have the most powerful PC, do not fret, you can still play. And that's what I quite like about that. I mean, there are other things as well. The actual world and how it feels, and when you sort of step into the game for the first time, it's pretty simplistic. It's not complicated. You have your character and you sort of walk around, and you get a bit of a video intro to what to do and how to do things. And it's basic, speak to someone, do a quest, level up. And it's simplistic, but it's so nice. I know that sounds a bit silly, but that simpleness for me is what I like. So if I want to go into a game and I want to sort of chill out and play a game and just in slow time and just enjoy it, stick on Warcraft. It's so good. I really enjoy it for that. It's a nice game for that it is. So that's sort of why I like it. The actual world itself is pretty cool because the world is massive, and when they say a massive multiplayer online role-playing game, they're not lying. This game, the land that you get to explore takes forever. So it does take forever to get around, and that kind of is a frustration of parts, but it's actually very good because it means you can't just walk through the game and finish it within 2 seconds. There's 2 different continents that you can go to. It might be more actually, it might be a 3rd continent, but for what I can see so far, 2 massive continents, and I've only unlocked tiny little areas within those continents because quite often they are what I'd call level locked. So although you can walk wherever you want, there will be enemies that you will encounter, and if those enemies are a lot higher in power than you are, or a higher level than you, they're going to wipe you and kill you straight away, to sort of keep you in the area where you should be, really, so that you can level appropriately, which is quite nice. Optimus saying the best bit about Warcraft was playing with mates. The game itself doesn't stand up for a solo content for long. I don't know. I've been soloing so far. I originally soloed up to about level 50 by myself. Yeah, maybe maybe a bit higher, maybe 55 by myself, just doing quests by myself. But you're right. The biggest draw, I think, for Warcraft is that it is multiplayer, not friendly, but it's advantageous if you've got a group of mates that you can play online together, because you can help each other with the quests, and that is so important. Being able to get through quests with your buddies you're going to need it, because some of those bloody quests are ninja hard. So the last thing you want to be doing is trying to grind through really difficult quests all by yourself. I mean, I do it right now because I haven't really met anyone on the game yet. If you're let's say you're level 10, right, and you try to do a level 12 quest, that is going to be super tough. So you're going to have to be an exceptionally good player. Or if you play with someone else, you play with a buddy, you can share the quest together, and then you can go and do the quest as a team. And it makes things a lot easier. Trying to solo it, as Optimus has pointed out, is really, really hard. It's only for sad gits like me who don't want to talk to people. That will enjoy the game as it is on its own. Because I do still enjoy the game as it is. I would still play it as a solo thing, but it can get infuriating even by myself when you're trying to do a quest and you just keep getting absolutely annihilated by the monsters or whatever it is that you're facing. So it is best to do it with someone else. And that's kind of the point of the game, is to build up relationships with people and just quest with people. So one of the most easiest ways to do it is just to, when you're playing, is to find people that you walk past in game, and you can just ask them, oh, are you doing this quest? Anyone doing that quest? And you can just ask out in the chat, and the chat goes across the entire server, which is quite nice, or the area that you're in. So you can ask people, oh, is anyone doing this quest? And you can pair up with some people that you might not ever speak to again, but they're doing the same quest and they need your help as much as you need theirs. So it's quite a nice team up experience. So if you do want to find some people to game with, there's plenty. I mean, when I started playing Warcraft 25 years ago, the servers were absolutely rammed. And I mean, when you're walking around these places, and bear in mind these maps are huge. When these maps are absolutely huge, you're sort of wandering around, you're seeing people left, right and centre. They're everywhere. However, like now, I'd say the population of the game must have gone down. I mean, they were millions and millions of people were playing it online when I played it originally. I imagine it's still a fair few, but it can't be anywhere near the amount it was back in the day, because there were millions of people playing it back in the day. And you couldn't walk more than, especially in the big cities, you couldn't walk more than 10 metres without running into characters, or other people's characters that are playing, that is. So it was very good for that. Now, little bit more limited, so there's not as many people playing, so bear that in mind. So you might have to grind a few quests out yourself, which again is okay. It's not the end of the world, but it does, if you're not into playing solo, it can get, as Optimus has said, it can get a little bit frustrating, let's say. So do try and join a guild, do try and find people and team up with them. That would be my recommendation. What are we saying in here? It's all about dungeons and raids now. Questing is just for leveling. Yeah, absolutely. So that was kind of the point of the game originally. So for, you get to a certain level so that you can participate in dungeons, huge dungeons that last forever, or big raid parties that last forever to fight a big boss, so that you can get awesome loot. So you can kit out your character in an individualistic way, and they look awesome. Now I think that was still like highly prized and a highly prized activity, but as Optimus said, you had to get to a certain level, and you still do. There are some lower level dungeons, like at level 25, I think, but the big dungeons are, probably level 50 upwards, I'd have thought. But I will update you as I manage to get into some. But it's just quite nice to be able to do that. And yes, quests are just for leveling, but quests are cool because you can have multiple different characters as well, which is quite nice. So if you are part of a party or a guild, and you do regular dungeon raids, but you've not got a certain character class, well, you can just go back and make a character, make a different one, and have that join your guild as well, which is quite nice. What else we got in the chat? Penny's Pit Stop. Hi there, just to let you know, I'm watching, but watching on TV. Oh, okay, I'm on the big screen. Nice, so won't be able to comment as much, but enjoying the show while eating my fish cake, onion rings, chips, peas and sweet corn. Oh, okay, sounds nice. Did you get a pickled onion, Penny? Pickled onions are the best. I love a pickled onion. So yeah, if you didn't get a pickled onion, shame on you. I assume your meal is from a fish and chip shop, is why you're pointing it out to us. Oh, there's a couple of ropes I've missed as well. There's always that when you start chatting away and you realise on a model that you've missed little bits here and there. So some ropes over this side. Let's go back to that Morghast bone colour. Yeah, so Optimus saying, lol, 24 years ago I used to get my sister to log in for me to join the queue for 3 hours before I finished work so I could play when home. Yeah, man. It was cool though, right? I really liked that. And my sister would never have played that World of Warcraft. She could barely play Mario Kart, but and I mean Mario Kart on the SNES. So yeah, no way would she play World of Warcraft. And also I think a lot of my friends that I was growing up with, they weren't really geeks. So I was probably one of the only geeks, and that kind of makes it difficult sometimes to game. But so you have to meet people online, which can be interesting to say the least. Just be careful if you're ever playing online. Be careful who you meet and who you talk to. Just always have that sort of security conscious mindset, so you're looking after yourself. That's very, very, very important. So make sure you do that if you play online. Never give your details away and all that sort of stuff, because you just don't know who is about these days. There's some crazy people out there, that's for sure. So you don't want to be talking to too many crazies. But there is I think generally speaking in the geek world, you can make some really good friendships, and the generalized, let's call them the family of geeks, so to speak, are very nice and very approachable, and you don't really get any problems. It's only the idiots, and you're going to get idiots wherever you go, right? So it's just trying to stay away from those idiots. So yeah, that is my advice on joining online gaming. What else was I going to say about Warcraft? So I've kind of gone into a bit of a story about it, I guess. Let's talk about character creation. So one thing I love about any online game is creating a character. I love it about D&D even. So even playing Dungeons and Dragons, I love creating a character, because it means you're so much more invested in playing the game. If it's your character and not something that you've been told that you have to have, it feels special, right? Whether it is or not, debatable, but it feels special. So by actually playing these kind of characters that you put a bit of love into making, makes it feel just that much better. And Warcraft's got some pretty good character creation mode. I wouldn't say it's as in-depth as something like Baldur's Gate 3, but it's still very good. There's lots of options from race to sex to haircuts, eyes, facial expression. You know, all of that sort of stuff is on the Warcraft character creator. So do not feel that you won't have any options, because you will. There's plenty of them there. And once you get into the game, that's the cool part, because when you get into the game, that's when I think your character becomes even more special to you. Because as you go through a quest and you accept this and accept that, you gain money, so you can start to then personalize your character even further. Even the rewards that you get for quests, someone might pick one item but you pick the other, so you're never going to quite have the same character as someone else. I love that. I think that's an epic part of any game, but especially World of Warcraft. So it's very good for character creation. And sometimes it doesn't matter if it's Warcraft or another game, I quite like just faffing around in character creation mode, seeing what I can create. Yeah, that's the sad getting me though. But that is a pretty good point for creating your online persona, in-game online persona. It's very cool. So we're almost done with this rope now on the ogre. Not much more to do really. Not a huge amount anyway. Which is lucky, because I don't want to have to add more paint to my wet palette when I'm getting less. I'm running out slowly, which is good, but this is a really awkward angle getting this rope done underneath. So, you know, sometimes I talk about sub-assembly painting is sometimes the best way to do it, right? And it is. Sub-assembly painting is sometimes far better, far easier. So in this instance where I'm painting these ropes that are on this barrel here, it's really difficult to get into the nooks and crannies. Now, if you're building the model and you've got all the pieces, you don't have to glue them all straight away. I'm an impatient bugger, as I've said before on the channel, so I do that. However, look, if you can, I don't know if I tilt. Can you see all the terrible painting on that rope that side? I'm now going to have to go back and tidy this all up in here. But I had to paint that colour, and I need to get some colour on it, and then I have to go back with the brown and tidy it up and bring it all in. So, bit hit and miss, whether you do or you don't. But sub-assembly painting, sometimes worth it. So keep it in mind, people, keep it in mind. JPC said, on the way home, whoop whoop, end of work, come on. On the way home. Penny's saying, no pickled onion. Nope, all air fried. Peas and sweet corn. Oh, microwave. Okay, got ya. The fish cake came from Lidl, and I have to say, it's really good. Actually, you can find fish in it. You know what? Lidl's ain't that bad. So for those who live outside the UK, Lidl is a supermarket chain that we have here, and it's pretty cheap. What I quite like about Lidl is they have what we here in the UK call the middle of Lidl, and the middle of Lidl is usually some crazy sort of market type, just boxes, crates with loads of stuff in, and it could be absolutely anything. It could be power tools one week to house furnishings the next, and I really love the middle of Lidl for that. I bought a pair of running trainers from the middle of Lidl the other day. Now, I had no expectations on them being good, but they were £14, right, which is not a lot of money for running trainers in this modern day and age. In the UK, a half decent pair is going to cost you at least 60-70 quid plus. These were £14. So I bought them, tried them. And I can say, if you do not have flat feet like me, I have flat feet, not fat, but flat. If you don't have flat feet, they are bloody brilliant for £14. The reason why they're not good for people with flat feet is because they're quite narrow. So if you've got, again, wide feet, flat feet, having a narrow shoe is a bit difficult because you might not have the room in the toe box for your feet to splay out or toes to splay out. And that might be very uncomfortable. And it can also cause a little bit of rubbing. So, yeah, these trainers for £14, I couldn't believe it. They're really good. So I've actually kept them. Although I won't run in them, I'm going to keep them and they're just going to be my sort of, you know, dossing around type trainers. So they are really good for that for 14 quid. You cannot complain. So Lidl is good, is what I'm saying, Penny, about your fish cakes. Lidl is very good. So yeah, so I would highly recommend to anybody Lidl. Just making sure I've tidied up those ropes a little bit, just so they're a little bit better. There is some red I need to stick down there. Actually, I've missed a patch of red. The red from his, what's it called here? Wrap or whatever you want to call it, that goes around his waist. Well, goes underneath his waist. Penny saying, I hear you. Went in the other day for a jar of coffee and came out with a motion sensitive light for my cupboard. Yeah, it's really random what you can get in Lidl, right? But some of the stuff is really good. I got a hedge trimmer from there, which is actually really good. Just a little battery powered handheld hedge trimmer, and that's really, really good. It's not the most powerful in the world, but it doesn't have to be for what I wanted it for. But it's just, it was cheap, it was effective, easy to use, easy to buy. You know, what can you complain about? It's so good. I love a good bargain. So as I sort of spot things on a model, I always kind of just go around and see if I can just tidy them up a little bit. So for instance here, I'm just going around the belt, just adding a bit of red where I've gone over the lines of the belt and onto the his wrap, as we're going to call it. So I'm just adding a little bit of colour just to block that off and just tidy it up a bit. And with models you can always go back and, you know, add a little bit here or add a little bit there just to bring the colours together or finish off a line properly or whatnot. Like here, for example, on the, can you see where the brown, or the green, sorry, has overran the brown? So we have to go back over that in a sec. Just tidy them up, just keep it a little bit, oh, that's the wrong colour, I want the brown, not the green. Yeah, just to tidy them up, it looks nice. Adrian Baker's in the house. Hello, good sir. Good evening to you. Adrian, I've got a bone to pick with you. You have not been on Minis-N-Muscles for the past couple of weeks. Where have you been? That's me wagging my finger, look at you. There you go. Where have you been, Adrian? Come on. Where have you been hiding? What's been going on? I hope you're well anyway, mate. I hope you're doing okay. We have missed you on the channel and your comments. So I'd like to know where the bloody hell you've been, sir. Really? Quite frankly? You know, what's the excuse for missing out on Minis-N-Muscles, eh? I mean, personally, there is no excuse, I don't think. It's just a total lack of respect for the law. Name that film. If anyone can tell me that quote from that film, where that quote comes from, a total lack of respect for the law. If anyone can tell me, bonus point for you. It happens to be one of my all-time favourite movies by one of my all-time favourite actors. So there you go, as a clue. It's an actor in it. Oh, there is a very famous female actress actually in it. So, but the lead is a guy. Yeah, absolutely awesome film. One of my favourites. Never got to meet him though. He died, unfortunately, before I got to meet him. So, if you ever have the opportunity, I was thinking about this the other day about wrestling, right? So I quite got back into wrestling a little bit, and just watched back a few old matches and stuff, and just think I wish like the heroes that I had as a kid, I wish I'd have sort of gone and seen them or taken the opportunity to go see them, you know. So very much you should do that. If you ever have a hero or someone you want to meet, I think you should definitely jump on that. There you go. Tip of the day. Life coaching. Yeah, life coaching tip of the day from Steve. If you ever have a hero, go see them, regardless of what it is. Go and watch them, I don't know, doing a gig, or go and see them, or whatever it is. You should definitely do that. Went to see the family. Oh, well, that's just not an excuse, Adrian, I'm afraid. We are your family here. We're all the family you need, Adrian. Oh, it's the infamous ogre with the cow and chicken. Yes. Well, I'm not quite a cow. I don't know why that doesn't look like a cow and a chicken, does it? How does it look like a cow and a chicken? I don't see it, but yeah. Someone in the Tactical Advanced Game Discord, because I posted a picture of this model in there, said, "Oh, it looks like a cow and a chicken," but I don't see the chicken anywhere. I don't know if anyone else does. If you do, sorry, please tell me if you do. I'd love to know where the chicken is. But I don't see it. I just don't see it. Just wanted to put an extra bit of pink on here because getting the sort of undertones of the undercoat come through. So just to cover that up, just so the pink is nice and vibrant. Like a vibrant pink here. There we go. I'll just colour that in. What else we've got to do? We've got to put some... Oh, we've got to put the fluff on... Oh, there you go. You can see it now. So the fluff that we did here for this, we need to do on this bit. We didn't do that bit. So, we need some white for that. Let's just shake up the white. Oh dear. Oh, we're going to have to do our muscle moment in a second. It's halfway through the show, people. Crikey. I've been talking and talking and talking. I hope you're all enjoying the show so far. Fingers crossed you are. Hopefully you are. I hope you are. I hope you're enjoying it. Oh. Wash that off. Okay, so last time when we did this kind of furry type pattern, we used a bit of a bigger brush, a bit of a dry brush, and we sort of just stippled really. So we got, by stippling I mean just got the paintbrush and kind of just dabbed it on like that. So it's a mix of stippling and dry brushing really. Wipe off the excess paint and then just sort of, there you go, get it across the model or across the parts, most of the sort of higher level parts, like so. Just want to get it in there. Might have to use a thinner brush for that bit. And again on this side. And we want to get in there. Can we get in there? Bit of a tight one again. It's also a very big brush, so it's a bit difficult when you're doing that. It's such a big brush, but that'll do for now. That'll do for now. Look, there you go. So you can see he's got his wristband on there. We can add some more detail to that later. That's fine. Alrighty, let's just lay him down so you can see what he looks like. There we go. That's how our ogre's coming along. He's looking pretty good, right? For what? This is our third session of painting him, so, you know, and I natter on a bit, and so it's not the full 2 hours of painting, but you know, it's kind of getting there. Let's just go back to our front view. Huzzah! I'm here. So here on Minis-N-Muscles, it's a place where the brawn meets the brush. We wouldn't be the place where the brawn meets the brush if we didn't spend just a couple of minutes talking about fitness. All right, plenty to talk about in the fitness world. The reason I do this is because I think there's a huge, sometimes, disconnection between the geek world and fitness, almost like they can't be hand in hand. However, I believe that they should be and can be and are hand in hand, actually, because healthy mind and healthy body go together, and these two hobbies really help us as humans, right? You've got the geek side of modelling, which is good for mind, and you've got the health side, which is good for body, the fitness side, right? And they both actually interact on the opposites as well, slightly with each other. So that's why I do my 5 minutes of fitness talk. And today I wanted to talk about Run Forest Run, and that is all about getting into running. Now, reason I'm talking about this is because recently I have started getting back into running. Now, I am nowhere near what I used to be when I was a runner. When I was a runner, I weighed between 67 to 70 kg approximately, sometimes a little bit less than that. And I was super fast, so super slim, super fast. And I sort of run, 15k in 16 minutes or so, maybe sometimes. Yeah, I have done it less than that. So, but my point here is I'm now a lot heavier, I'm now a lot older, but it doesn't matter. Anyone can do running, and I mean absolutely anybody. Now, first of all, start slow and stay consistent. So you don't have to beat everybody in the world. It's all about beating you as an individual. Excuse me. We had a muscle moment a little while back talking about what things can aid you in running. One of these, a watch, can aid you massively. You just need a smartwatch of some sort that tracks your GPS and gives you a time, and that's it, because it then gives you the distance, right? So time and distance is all you need, and then you can start seeing how you perform as an individual. You could even join something like Strava, which is an app that tracks your fitness, and then you can join it with other people and interact with other people and cheer your mate on, or they can cheer you on, and you can comment on stuff, and you can see like how everyone else is doing, so you can compare yourself if you're okay with doing that. So Adrian is saying actually outside or on the treadmill, as in my 5k was actually outside. So actually outside on treadmill, I don't know, I never done a 5k on a treadmill. I used to do 400 meter sprints on the treadmill. So the first part of running is go slow, stay consistent. Don't race anybody, just go and plod, and then remain consistent with it and do it every week if you can on the same days, and make it a ritual and make it a habit. Step 2, proper footwear matters. We talked about my little trainers earlier for £14. Okay, absolutely fine for someone that is not as heavy as me and has narrower feet. They're actually really good. But because I'm a heavy guy and I have flat feet, it means that I don't quite have the room and the width to move in those shoes. So they're not good for me. However, I went back to an old pair of trainers, just dug them out the cupboard, and they're knackered. So they're providing no support to me, to the point where actually running, I was getting some slight knee pains today. So you must get decent footwear that fits you, that works for you and provides ample support. Okay, so that is a biggie. You have to protect your body. I think something crazy like 7 times your body weight goes through your joints when you run. That's an insane amount. So for me, that's over half a ton of energy that goes through my joints. You've got to protect yourself. So decent pair of trainers, peeps. Form and breathing is step 3. Don't worry, when I say form and breathing, the form part, I'm not talking about having the perfect arms or the perfect legs, as in the movement of your legs and arms whilst you're running. Actually, what I want you to do, or I would recommend you do, is I would recommend that you sorry, I've just lost my train of thought. I recommend, sorry, that you're relaxed. By your form, I mean stay relaxed. Some people you see when they're running, they're like this, you know, really tight like that. Try and relax the shoulders, relax the arms, and just go with it, whatever feels natural. Adrian's dropping in the chat saying, don't set patterns. Adrian, we're not in Northern Ireland now. We're not in Afghanistan or Iraq anymore. We can relax a little bit unless you're a target, I guess. I mean, nobody should set patterns, but come on, as civvies, we've got pretty much free reign to do what we want, so don't be too worried. So form is relaxed, breathing. Just make sure you give your nose a good blow before you go out, so you've got clear sinuses so you can actually breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, and just so you're ready, but don't worry too much about it. Just try to keep it relaxed, and that sort of couples with your form. Step 4, set achievable goals. So don't think that within 5 weeks you're going to be running a marathon anytime soon, or you're going to be competing with Usain Bolt on a 800-meter record. Go steady, and that sort of linked to point 1, which is start slow, right, and remain consistent. Maybe join the Couch to 5K. Maybe join a park run, which is local to you. Something that's nice and steady that you can dedicate yourself to, but isn't too much. If you bite off more than you can chew, you'll end up regressing and possibly actually stopping the whole habit yourself. And you don't want that. You want to be able to continue your habit. So set your goals achievable. And lastly, step 5, enjoy the process. If you're not enjoying it, whether that's running or the gym, don't do it. You are not going to achieve physical fitness or peaks or whatever you want to call it via doing something you're not enjoying. You're either not enjoying it for a multitude of reasons, but you should be enjoying it. By enjoying it, it means that you will dedicate yourself to it, you will stay consistent, and you will then be able to hit some goals. When you're running, perhaps you might want to run with headphones, for example. I would recommend not running with headphones that go in your ears, but headphones that, have you seen those bone conductor ones? The reason I say it's just safety. I see too many people running with headphones, ignoring everything that goes on with them, or cycling with headphones so they can't even hear the traffic. Bone conductor headphones for running and cycling, top recommendation. But music can be really motivating, can make it enjoyable, right? So that's part of enjoying the process, and celebrate your milestones. If you do something big, if it's the first time you've done a 5K, bloody well celebrate it. Tell your friends, post on it on their social medias or whatever. Just enjoy it. Treat yourself. Buy a new model maybe when you've done your first 5K. There you go. So they're my 5 points. Oh, that's 10. There's my 5 points for getting into your fitness. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight. JP says, don't run any marathons, save your knees. Yes and no, it depends. I mean, for me, at 97, 98 kilograms, and I'm only 5'7", that's really heavy. So actually for me, running a marathon is probably not a very good idea, because it would be very impactful on my knees. But it does come down to then things like stretching and mobility. It does come down to wearing the right shoes, and maybe even wearing knee braces when you run. And like knee supports when you run, just so you can protect yourself. You can do it, but just go steady. They're called Snickers now, marathons. Oh, yeah. Oh, Adrian, we've missed your humour, sir. Anyway, back to the painting, peeps. Back to the painting. I've done my preaching about fitness. JPC is saying 6'4", 210 pounds. Yeah, try being 5'7" and about 203 pounds or whatever it is. I'm almost your weight and a lot shorter than you. So yeah, but there's a lot of other things that happen with being tall. Being tall can create back problems, for example. So there's a lot of things to consider all round in fitness. But if you ever have any questions, you can email me at Minis-N, the letter N, muscles @gmail.com, and you can ask the questions. Like the skin, Steve. Oh, cheers, dude. He looks pretty cool, doesn't he? He looks alright. The skin tone's gone on really nice. It took a couple of layers, but actually the coverage is really good. So I was very happy with him. Very happy. Oh, there we go. Just noticed something on this side. Actually, that looks like a band. I'm going to do that in a brassy colour. Because that looks like he's wearing a gold band of some sort. There we go. Putting some gold on there. Same thing with people say don't put metallics into your wet palette. Now I don't mind putting metallics into the wet palette, but they do come out a lot thinner and they're a lot harder to paint on, so you will have to do more coats. So there's one thing, if you put your metallics into a wet palette, you will end up having to do more coats, so just be prepared for that. Not that that's a drama, it's not the end of the world. At least you know where all your paints are and you can see them all. And actually sometimes it's quite nice to do more coats because it just means you get a more consistent look and you don't get this sort of really heavy paint look, which nobody wants. You don't want a heavy paint look because it gets all bulgy and gross and yuck. Alright. Just want to come over here quickly. There we go. There's always bits to tidy up. It doesn't matter what I'm painting. There's always bits that I go, oh my god, I've just missed that bit there. I've missed this bit here. Always bits I forget. But again, that's, you know, part of model building, model painting. There are going to be times like that, and it then comes down to you questioning having a question or a word with yourself and say, what do I want? Am I going for perfection here, or am I going for enjoyment and getting this on the table so we can use it in a game? 9 times out of 10, most people are more about the enjoyment and getting it into the game. So, and if that's the case, you don't have to be perfect. Don't beat yourself about being perfect. Just do it because you enjoy it. Do it because it's fun. And then just enjoy the process and get it on the table so you can then ultimately game with your buddies. And that's what it's all about. A bit of gaming. That's what we love, right? And that's why we're all here. Oh, talking of gaming, actually, I should bring this up. So I got some Pokemon cards the other day. A new set's come out, so Mega Evolutions for anyone that is interested in Pokemon. And I got a new box set, started opening packets, and I only pulled out the second to top card. So every set of cards that comes out comes with, you know, what people call a chase card. So that's what everyone's all after, this one card. And I drew the second to top chase card, and it's worth $400 to $600 just as it is for one card. $400 to $600. It's crazy. JPC saying more muscle than me too. Yet watched you start him. Hard to get good coverage and minimal brush marks for me. Yeah, so that, JPC, is all down to your consistency in your wet palette. So adding water to your colour in your wet palette and then having multiple layers. That is the key. That's all that does it. So it's thin layers that you can continually paint on that then sort of hide those yucky brush marks that we all put onto our models, because we all do it. But if your paint is thin enough, you will get away with it and it will look like this. It will come across almost like it's sprayed on. So if you look down on the feet, though, you can see down here it's not so good, right? Where I've not really concentrated on the feet as of yet. But, you know, as long as let's just put a little bit of green on here just to show you, look. All you're trying to do is get rid of those brush marks and the sort of undertones of the undercoat. And it's all about right consistency. How do you know what is the right consistency on your paint? I hear you cry. Well, difficult to answer that one, actually. However, it's usually I find it's usually a blend between 3-to-1 ratio. So 3 lots of paint blobs to 1 lot of water. But as I pointed out earlier, all these paints are different, right? If I just show you these now, look at this. This is how crazy painting is sometimes. If I open this Corax White, okay, open that, can you see how thick that is? All right, that's really thick. That needs a lot more water. Let's open a similar colour. This is open Wraith. No, this one's Pallid Witch Flesh, right? This one is actually pretty thin. So they all have different consistencies. Metallics, well, that one's a bit claggy actually, but metallics generally are quite runny, like that one. Okay, so it all depends on the paint, but roughly it's about a 3-to-1 ratio. Butterfly Horse says hi Butterfly Horse, how you doing? I hope you're well, hope you're doing okay. Yeah, so keep on giving it a try, JPC. It's not unachievable, it's just patience with the layering. And if you also know that a certain part of the model that you've got is not going to be, you're going to paint over that, then don't fret too much. Like his toenails, for example, can you see that's just a little bit too wet, as in too much water. But his toenails, for example, I'll probably paint a different colour just to give it a bit of vibes. But you can see there the paint is too thin now. And that's okay, because you can just leave that on. And I'll just have to add some green to my wet palette. It was where I tried to stretch the remaining colour that I had in my wet palette out to cover that foot. So yeah, so it's all about consistency on the paint. Ratio 3-to-1 roughly, but depending on the paint you use, so just do check your paints first, because all paints are different. Right, what do we want? I want a kind of odd looking leather colour. I might go for some Bugman's Glow, because we have some straps here on the rocks and they all need painting, and actually a strap up here as well on the top of his staff. And I want to kind of give it this sort of leather, not leather, yeah, kind of leathery, but like a skin kind of. He's peeled a load of skin off an animal or a person or whatever, and he's using that skin to hold his rocks together. You know, that's the kind of look that I want to go for. So using this Bugman's Glow for that. Let's drop a load of that into my wet palette. Again, 2 to 3 lots, and you can put a dob of water in as well, and just see how it flows onto the mini. So sometimes the paint itself might just drop on the mini really nice. Other times you'll go on and you'll be like, oh, actually this is way too thin. So let's just sort of paint this on here and see what it looks like first. And yeah, the consistency here is not too bad. How you know the consistency is okay is that A, it flows across the model really easy, or the parts that you're painting, and B, you're not getting a huge amount of black from the undercoat coming through. So it means you're getting good spread, but also it's a good thickness as well, where you're not going to be completely opaque and you're not going to see everything underneath. So these are like sort of leather skin straps is what I'm imagining here. There we go. That mould line on the leg. Yeah, there's plenty of mould lines like here, look, on the model. I'm not too fussed in this because this model will be pulled out for a one-off use. So it'll be used once or maybe twice, you know, and it'll go back in the box. It's not something that's going to be used every single day. So I could go around and fix every single mould line. That's an absolute possibility, and you could. However, it comes down to time and whether you want to cover every single mould line. Again, I just don't see the value. The value for me is having a nice model that's on the table that you can use and looks pretty cool, right? And this guy will look pretty cool once he's done. But ultimately, we want to be able to just move on to the next thing and paint the next thing. We don't want to sit there, or I certainly don't want to sit there all day long painting one model for the next 20 years. Maybe I will go to town on a model just to show you guys, and we'll do it in a stream, but it might get a little bit boring. That's my only worry, where you're really going super slow to take all the burr off of every tiny little bit, and then you're patching things up and filling holes. You're going to do a couple of episodes before you even paint the thing, and I'm not sure if that would be boring or whether that would be of interest to you guys. So what I try to do is I try to offer painting tips as we go, talk about lots of geeky stuff, of course, but I don't want it to run into this sort of level of boredom where, oh god, we've been painting the same thing for 10 weeks and it's still only at this point. So that's the reason for I don't, Adrian. Not because I don't understand what you're talking about, because you're right, you could absolutely fill all the mould lines up. Yeah, my fridge is making some right weird noises. I don't know if you can hear it on the stream at all, but hopefully not. Anyway, our general chat conversational topic today is World of Warcraft. Before the muscle moment, we were talking about loads of different things, from character creation to the world and how it works. So I just thought we'd continue that chat, if that's all right with you guys. Unless you've got other things you want to talk about, feel free to drop them in the chat and say hello, or tell me what it is that you want to talk about, and I'll talk about it. But for now, our general chat topic is World of Warcraft, so we should carry on with that topic whilst we paint. So what else? What other cool things can I talk about World of Warcraft? The exploration, right? So exploring things in Warcraft is super cool. Because you're not always under constant threat in Warcraft, it means that you can go places and explore new lands and places and things you've never seen, and just get a vibe for the world that you're in. And it's quite a cool thing just to be able to wander about and look at all of the different animals that you can find, and the different trees and the different scenery that are in all these sectors, let's call them, as you walk through the world itself. And by sectors, I'm referring to the different areas that you might want to go to. So the world is made up of those 2 continents that I spoke about earlier, and within those 2 continents you get multiple sectors. And those sectors all are sort of different, not necessarily different themed, but generally speaking they're quite different to look at. So that one might be green, dark, dense forest, and the next one might be a desert, for example, which is really cool. And I love the fact that every area has its own monsters as well, so it will have its own group of special monsters that are in that zone. So I'd love a little bit of exploration in World of Warcraft. It's not quite as good as some games like Red Dead Redemption 2, which has some absolutely amazing exploration capabilities, and the scenery in that game is phenomenal. So you're not going to get anything like that, but you do get loads of varied areas with lots of different things to offer. Be that different plants that you can harvest and you can take away and use for different things, or you might have different enemies for different quests, or just a general different feel as a whole. And even working into a new area, you get exploration points, XP, and you can then unlock a different area, which is quite nice. So Warcraft is good not just on a sort of combat raid heavy, but just exploration wise. It's quite a fun game just to have a look around and see what's about. So I do like that aspect of Warcraft, and it kind of couples in with that more relaxed pace feel of a game, rather than, you know, feeling like you're constantly being harassed in game by the game itself. You get a moment to breathe, which I like. Being older, I like that moment to breathe. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind playing Fortnite or Call of Duty or whatever, but having a moment to breathe and having a moment to think about what you want to do without getting absolutely slaughtered is nice. So yeah. There's the leather strapping that holds the bottom of the anvil inside the tree. Yes, got that bit. I'll do that in a bit. I'm just doing this ball bit in a sec, to begin with rather. You need to play on a PvP server. No, I do not. I do not want to play on a PvP server. Tried it 20 years ago. It was bloody hideous. So PvP servers, player versus player, means that everyone can attack each other. And it's sodding horrible. I really did not like PvP. It just winds me up because you get these insanely good players that come into areas where you're trying to level up still. And they just sit there and just kill everybody outright every time. And you can't do sod all about it. So I remember this is when I was playing, again, 20 odd years ago. And I was really low level, and this super high level player from the Horde faction, so the opposite faction to what I was, came into a really low level area of my faction, killed all of the non-player characters, and was just slaughtering people left, right and centre. So every time you respawned, that was it. Boomf, dead. Boomf, dead. And it was horrible. So I kind of vowed to myself ever after that I'll never play PvP again. Yeah. So that kind of scarred me, JPC, if you get my notion. Yeah, it kind of scarred me. Adrian saying just run through the game and make trains. Yeah, so making trains is it doesn't really happen that much. It's not that effective. So what Adrian's referring to, if you don't understand the term make trains, is as you go through the game, non-player characters and things like monsters and stuff have what is called an aggro range, and that means where they get aggravated and they will come and get you. So if you get so close to let's say a wolf, within a certain range it will start to chase you and it will attack you automatically because you've got into its area, so to speak. Now what you can do if you can't be asked to fight them is just run through that area as quickly as you can, and what that sometimes does is make a train of enemies that then follow you for a certain distance, but they don't really follow you that far. So trains do happen, but because the servers now are not that packed, it doesn't really affect other people, I don't think. Even in an area where you might be harvesting a certain enemy or a certain animal or something, getting a training doesn't really affect people that much anymore because of you're not in that closer proximity. When I first played 20 years ago, it was a lot worse because, you know, even within 20 meters of you, there was other players. And if other players pulled monsters towards you, they'd attack you. And you didn't have a choice about it. Now, because there's a lot less players, it's just not that bad. So yeah, so it did exist, Adrian, but I don't feel it's as bad anymore. And you can kind of get away with making a train yourself and running away from enemies without causing a problem to other people. So it's not too bad, to be fair. It's not too bad. He says. Now someone's going to come on and say, oh, it's really bad and this happened to me the other day. But I'm sorry if it does happen to you. I hope I've never done that to anybody. I don't think I have, because I'm quite a conscientious player. and I like to try to keep the peace. What else is people saying? Play a mage, it's just fine. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if they're still insanely OP, overpowered, like they used to be. Mages used to be super OP. I remember a buddy of mine had a gnome mage, and crikey, that was so overpowered. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Yeah, it was really, really good to play a mage back in the day. I don't know if that's still the same, or whether they fixed it. I would assume they fixed it, given that, you know, that was 20 years ago. But maybe for the classic game they didn't fix it. Maybe they, you know, it's still the same. Maybe mages are awesome. I play a druid at the moment. That's what I play. I think it's quite a nice, versatile character build that you can do. I quite like the fact that you can change into different animals. That's quite cool and helpful for when you're soloing. So we were talking earlier about how it's difficult to solo in World of Warcraft. Well, when you're a druid, it's slightly different because you can change into an animal, which can take a lot of punishment, and then you can change back into your human self, heal yourself, and then go back into the animal again. So it's quite a helpful build. I quite like it. That I do. There we go. So I'm quite liking this skin colour so far that we're using for the straps. It's quite smart. Quite like it. There we go. Tidy up round there and there. Oh, that's right, we've got a strap up the top as well to do. One Adrian pointed out. See, Adrian, now you're back, you can point out these things to me. So basically you're not allowed to go and visit your family ever again now, Adrian. You have to be here for Minis and Muscles every week. Family's overrated, right? So I heard. I'm only joking, by the way, before someone rips my head off for saying that. That is a joke. There we go. So coming along. Oh, I've got 20 minutes left. That's not too bad. I've done a fair amount of the detail tonight, so... And I don't mean the fine detail, I mean like the detailed areas, the bits that need detail applying to them, as in the ropes and things like that, the smaller bits, rather than the sort of mass body of the ogre. Yeah, we've got quite a bit done, with all my nattering as well, so that's pretty good, right? Yeah, so if anyone's playing World of Warcraft and they want to play World of Warcraft Classic on the EU servers, I am playing on, I think it's... I want to say Sunstrider. Let me check before I misquote myself. I don't know if I can check on my battle pass actually, whether it will tell me. No, it won't tell me. Gosh darn it. Damn it, it doesn't tell me. Alright, well, I'll stick it on the Discord anyway so you can see what server I play on. So if anyone's playing World of Warcraft, wants to jump in and play, I would be very welcome to... I'd welcome anyone that wants to play along the game with me. That would be great. I would very much appreciate that. Because as people have spoke about, it is good to play with others because you can do so much more. Whoa! Drop him a blooming paintbrush there. You can do so much more, which is nice. Just add in a little bit of white around this bit of fur. It's a bit too white, if I'm honest, but I need to go over the green that's there, so it is what it is. I'm afraid it's gonna have to be like that. There we go. Okay, what other bits have we got? Oh yeah, I missed a bit on the ball. I like how the pink leather is dried to brown. Yeah, it's so this is Bugman's Flesh, I think it's called. Where is it? Yeah, so if Bugman's Glow, there you go. So it's that colour, Bugman's Glow. So it's a pretty cool colour. What's quite nice about it as well is you can make quite a nice brown skin tone out of it. So if you get Bugman's Glow and you add this contrast over the top, Gilliman's Flesh, you can get quite a nice brown skin tone, which is pretty good. So if you're looking for a brown skin tone, it does do that for you well. Right, what else we got here? Let's have a look. What bits are missing? Paint. If anyone can see anything, shout out. Oh, cow. There you go. The cow needs tidying up. There we go. Got 15 minutes or so. So that'll be enough to finish the cow, I think. So the cow's really simple because it's just actually tidying around the hooves, where we literally just slapped on the colour on. I think it was one of the first things we painted, wasn't it, the cow? So, oh, we've got the cow's tail to do, actually. Cow's tails, are they the same colour as a cow itself? There's a question. Any animal people out there? Are cow's tails the same colour as the cow itself? Or are they different? The hooves are different, right? So they're like a, I want to say a whitey kind of colour. I think that's what we'll probably have to do here, is paint them a whitey kind of colour to contrast against the brown. He's got his, what's it called as well, his horns to do. So we can do the horns, that's easy enough. Da, da, da. It's a bit of a big old beast of a model to hold this. That's the only other thing that's a bit of a pain in the bum. Apart from that, it's quite a nice model to paint on the whole. It's, you know, it's quite a nice surface. It's quite easy. It's quite large. So if you're looking for a model to paint and you need like an ogre or just would like to paint one, I think this is a WizKids model, but it's the WizKids sort of, I don't know what they call them, but it's the building variant, because WizKids make models that are like pre-done and they're pre-made, and they also came out with a range that was you had to build the models yourself, and this is one of them, and it's quite nice. It's not too bad. It's not too shabby. They're not the cheapest, but they're certainly not the most expensive. Instructions all right. If you into model building, you will not struggle to build this model. If you're not into model building, it might be a little bit difficult, but as on the whole, it's pretty all right. There we go. There's our little cow. Oh, he's got eyes as well. Damn it! He's got eyes! Didn't realise he had eyes. Do cows have white eyes? Another question. Do cows have white eyes? Who knows the answer to this question? Do cows' tails, are they the same colour as the cow? And do cows have white eyes? Because I've just given this bugger white eyes. Well, certainly for the ball of its eyes. Oh, gone over the edge just a little bit, but that's fine. I've not got my geek glasses on, so I'm not super zoomed in. So doing sort of areas like eyes, having geek glasses on is always helpful. But if you go over the edge, don't panic about it. It's fine, you'll be able to cover it up. Talking of covering up, let's just fix this a little bit around here. A little bit of brown there, a little bit of brown there. Alrighty. So nobody knows about cows. How awkward. Right. Whilst that is all drying, I think we could whack some, because we've only got a little bit of time left, whack some basing on here and then start to look at other bits. So the two colours I'll use for basing, I'll use these two. Some technical mud and some astro granite. Although that feels very empty, which is not so good. Don't know if we've even got enough. So this sort of comes in like that. So it's like very pasty kind of stuff, this technical paint. And you just literally take it on the end of your thing like that and you just smear it across the base. So it's really easy to apply. You don't have to do it in a technical fashion. You don't have to, you know, worry about how it goes on, because the more random it is, the more natural it will look anyway. So just go crazy. Just go crazy with this stuff. And you can put on loads, you can put on a little. Doesn't really matter. Depends what your kind of look you're going for. You can even run the mud up the sides of the rock as well. You might want to sort of taper off the mud towards the edge. And if you've got sort of lines in it, or it sort of creates an effect, don't worry, don't panic. Having sort of blips and ups and downs in the mud makes it look more realistic. So just go with the flow, baby, go with the flow. This pot's really running out. Just pushing it up against the edge. It's nice and simple. There we go. Easy to cover the base in a bit of mud. And to do the back, same detail again, just get a load of blobs of the mud itself and just spread it. Spread it along. It doesn't matter if it's thick or thin, just get it on wherever, however you can. So what else we talk? Oh, big old bit there. So what else are we talking about World of Warcraft? There's some pretty cool other things that you can do in the game. So, you know, the social side, we kind of touched on it briefly. The social side of the game is pretty awesome. You can meet some really cool people online and you can chat to them and build out quite a nice little network of friends, especially if you join things like raiding parties and guilds. You can really sort of expand your friendship group, which is nice, especially if you're the sort of person that doesn't do pubs and clubs and all that sort of stuff. Actually doing this kind of thing is really good for that. So it's a great game for expanding your friendship network. And there's people, I mean, I don't know about now, but when I was in a guild, this is 20 years ago, there were people that even got married from that. They met in real life and they got married. So yeah, it was quite crazy. And then you had like the married couples that were playing the game. I mean, it was very nice. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way, I'm not saying. I'm actually saying it's quite cool because it means that you can find someone that you really get along with that shares some exceptionally similar values to you, and you can play a game that you love with them. So why not? There you go, quick basing of the brown. Then you've got the grey to do as well, so let's wipe this off and I think we'll get that done. Hey Elias, how you doing? Good to have you on board. Well, it must be quite late where you are, dude. Ah, I hope you're well. There you go, Elias. This is our big fat ogre that we're doing. How'd you like him so far? Is he alright? What do you reckon? Out of 10, how would you rate him? Just quickly putting some base colour on there for him, just so he looks a bit more together. There we go. Now with this rock on the top, actually what I could have done is, because it's not just a flat surface, I didn't have to use this type of basing material. I could have actually painted this rock on the top. You know, you could have just painted it, could have just run a paintbrush over it, but hey ho, doesn't really matter too much. As long as you've got the colour on there, that's the main thing. It is a bit of a tricky one to do, because he's quite a big old beast, this guy. I might actually have to get my paintbrush out, because sometimes these spreaders, they don't really, they're okay, and you can use the other end which is slightly thinner, but they're a little bit difficult sometimes to really be precise with them. So it's okay for sort of, you know, splodging this all over the place, but actually to be precise, you want your paintbrush. If you are going to use your paintbrush with this technical paints, get an older paintbrush that you don't mind it getting buggered up, because if you use your normal paintbrush in this, it's got bits and all the rest of it, it's very harsh on brushes, it'll probably end up screwing your brushes up. So just make sure you use an older paintbrush, I would recommend, and then you can feel free, and you don't have to worry too much about it getting buggered up. Last thing you want to do is pay for some nice brushes and they get knackered, right? So in my case, where'd it go? Ah, there it is. So I've got this old brush here that I can, that's not the one I was thinking. That's a bit too small. Right, we'll use this one because this is pretty old and knackered anyway. There we go. All we want to do is just cover this black, that's all. We don't want to go crazy, and because we did the brown a minute ago, it's going to be difficult to get right on the line and on the button, so I am going to have to revisit this at some point, because you've got two colours that are drying together. It's not always wise to paint like this, so what I mean by that is you've got two wet colours very close to each other. It makes it very difficult, so I would always recommend that you try to avoid doing what I'm doing right now, but I do this for speed, not for necessarily quality all the time. If you want to, and it also means as well actually that you're going to have to, I'm going to have to come back and revisit this and just touch in this grey where I haven't been able to get the brush close because the brown is a bit too close. It's a big old base actually, this. I'm thinking like, should I put some water effects, some like resin effects on it? I think I might, just for fun. Just because we can. On the front of this base we could probably build like a little water effect. So on the front here, I don't know where, but somewhere like on the front round here, we could just build up the edges and make it a bit of a water effect. There's a bit of a dip here as well we could probably use as another water splash. So I'm going to give that a go. Quite like sticking resin on models at the moment. It's really cool for making some effects. Be that blood effects or anything else. Ooh, a little bit on the back there. There we go. If we get a little bit on the feet, doesn't matter too much, we can go back and correct. There we are. So that's not too bad. There we go. God, look at that. 4 minutes to spare. Yeah. All right, let's have a quick look. Oh, so Elias is saying he's a 10 out of 10. Thank you, sir. World of Warcraft, is Adrian saying. You mean that they met in real life and found out that their World of Warcraft girlfriend wasn't a male Glaswegian truck driver? Yeah, I can imagine there's a lot of that, to be fair. I can imagine there's a fair amount of that. Meeting people online and realising that they're not quite who they said they were. That's why I said if you're gaming online, do be careful. It's not everyone is who they claim to be. So just make sure you're taking the right precautions to protect yourself. You know, whether that is using a VPN or whether that is not giving out your details, whatever that is, do make sure that you look after yourself when you're playing online. No matter what game you're playing, whether it's World of Warcraft or bloody anything. Because there are some strange people out there, unfortunately. Just thought I'd throw some silver on these knives on the end, purely because I think they're the only thing that hasn't got paint on. There we go. Oh, lovely. Okay, so here we go. He's looking pretty good. Let's just zoom out a little bit. There we are. So you can see the whole of the mini. He's pretty good. His eyes are there. You know, there's a few little details and there's some shading to be done. But you could, as he is, what I love about this, at this stage, when you get to a model at this stage, you could just put him on the table as he is and play with him and he's absolutely fine. You know, and that's really what I want to do with my models on the channel and just in general in life. I don't want perfection. I'm not striving for that, apart from when I paint my own minis. Like, generally speaking, if I've got a special mini, and by a special mini I mean something like a lead character in my army, I will give them some special attention. I will spend more time painting detail on them. However, it's very rare that you get a special model like that, and a lot of it is squads and especially in Warhammer, squads and sort of large group worth of models, which is a long old time to paint, and you might not have the time or the patience to be able to dedicate to doing a model like that. So by all means, paint for speed, paint for ease, and paint for fun. But so far, that is our model. That's what he looks like. He's pretty good. Let's just move our camera out to the front view. Huzzah, we're here! I can bring our ogre into play so you can see him this way. There's the base as well that we've literally just done. There he is. Can we get him any closer? Not bad, right? Not bad. There are some details to finish, of course, so he's not perfect. But he is also not bad. He's pretty good. So there we go. There's our model for today. Next session, I reckon we'll actually get him finished and done. So next session, I think we'll be voting on a new model to paint. Ooh, what will I find in my pile of shame to paint? He says. If there's any recommendations, or if there's any sort of model that you guys want to see, you should drop it in the chat and let me know. However, we've run out of time, unfortunately. Usually we do our muscle moment, our hobby horror moment, but we ran out of time. So we don't have time today, unfortunately, because we have made the 9 o'clock mark. But I just wanted to say to every single one of you that has logged on, thank you so much. You keep me sane on a Friday evening. It's lovely to get your comments. It's lovely to chat to you and just to say hello. Please, especially if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notifications so you know when we're going live. It's really important that you know when you're going live. So click the little bell symbol and turn your notifications on for Minis and Muscles. Make sure you share the video once it goes published. Tell your friends about it as well. Let's get some more of us fellow geeks together so we can chat more crap. And enjoy your weekend. Make sure it's a geeky one. Thank you to every single one of you that joins me. I love you all. Appreciate every single body that joins, that chats, and everyone that just watches. It's awesome to have you here with me and building out this wonderful channel that is Minis and Muscles. Anyway, that is the end of the show today. I hope you've had a good one. I've enjoyed your company. We've chatted about World of Warcraft. We've chatted about running and a little bit of fitness. And next week we will continue our adventure. We will finish off this ogre and we will start a new model. Anyway, till then, have a geeky weekend and a geeky week. Make sure you do some fitness, get out into that big wide world and enjoy life. Take it easy. See you all soon. Bye-bye.
Minis and muscles, we're heroes, right? The dying world still mighty skies. Pushing air with power we fight. Strength that brings you night in the light. Where the brawn meets the brawn. The story's told in this love imagination mode. With every stroke, adventures unfold. Minis and muscles, heart and soul. Guidance in hand and worlds to explore. Roll the future, hear the dice roar. Gaming realms of muscles drawn. Together in this place where we belong. Doting spells, casting dreams until the dawn. Leveling up and the world to follow. With painted heroes shining bright. Venturing on.